the new Popular Front, a coalition of several parties, won 182 seats in the National Assembly, making it the largest bloc. It doesn't have an absolute majority, though. None of the blocs do. President Emmanuel Macron's centrist Ensemble alliance got 163 seats, whilst Marine Le Pen's far-right National Rally and its allies got 143 seats. And it's worth noting National Rally will be the largest individual party in the new parliament, so it will be the official opposition. After the first round of voting, the far-right's run to power was undone by tactical deal-making between centrist and leftist opponents. More than 200 candidates withdrew from the second round to avoid splitting the anti-National Rally vote. Now, the National Rally's Marine Le Pen says the party's victory has only been delayed.
The quagmire that I warned about has, of course, come true. France will be totally blocked with three groups that have more or less the same influence in the National Assembly. Well, we're going towards that. It's sad. We're losing one more year of unregulated immigration, one more year of losing purchasing power, one more year of a blowing up of insecurity in our country. But if we need to go through that, then we'll go through that.
Let's head over to the Prime Minister's office. Gabriel Attal is submitting his resignation today. He will, though, continue his duties as long as needed, and Jim Bitterman is outside his office there. He may continue for quite a while because the process of finding a Prime Minister is very complicated now.
Absolutely, Max. But in fact, we're not at the Prime Minister's office. We're inside the National Assembly courtyard. I just wanted to show you how things are going to transpire in about 4 hours from now when these new deputies, 577 deputies who were officially elected yesterday, actually some of them were already elected from the previous week on the first round. Anyway, they're going to come through those blue-gray doors back there. They've got a sign out front that says "This way" for the deputies, and then they're going to come through here. They've got they're starting to prepare things to sort of get the security check and to get the ID check that goes with getting access to the National Assembly. They've got a little coat rack room back here that they can put their coats in, or they can put their luggage, because some of these people will be coming in from all over the country and some places outside the main country of France and in the territories, the overseas territories. And so there's going to be people trickling in probably for the next day or two. Eventually, all 577 though will take up offices in there. They'll get their housing vouchers if they need them. Basically, the National Assembly has a lot of studio apartments that they let the members use if they need them. Some of them are from Paris, of course, they don't need them. In any case, that'll be all taken care of. Logistics will be taken care of in the next day or two. Tomorrow, they'll get a calendar of events. And of course, as you mentioned, Max, one of the things that we're all going to be watching for is this left-wing group, this alliance, a very rough alliance, that took the most seats. 182 of the 577 seats belong to the new Popular Front, as it's called, but it's made up of 5 individual parties. And one of the most extreme parties is headed by a guy named Jean-Luc Mélenchon. He wasted no time yesterday claiming the prime ministership. Here's what he had to say.
Now the will of the people must be strictly respected. From now on, no tricks, backroom deals, nor combinations would be acceptable. The lesson to be taken from the vote is definitive. The defeat of the president and his coalition has been confirmed with clarity. The president has the power. The president has the duty to call on the new Popular Front to govern.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the president's problem is going to be. If he wants the extreme left in power, I don't think he does, but this is the award for the headline of the day has to go to Le Parisien, because they said, and now what? What do we do? What do we do now with a very perplexed-looking Mr. Macron on the cover? That's exactly what's confronting France right now. Who is going to be the prime minister, and which one of these many party groups is going to really represent the government of France? Max?
Jim, thank you. A question we're going to put to Danielle Obono. She is a member of parliament with France's Unbowed party, led by Mélenchon. You were with him last night. He was pretty quick off the blocks. Within minutes of the projection coming out, he was out claiming victory. What was that like?
That was a pretty intense feeling. I
Yeah.
think everybody was both relieved and very overwhelmed by everybody being so happy, and also we felt that we were at a turning point in our country's history, and we managed to beat the odds and win and defeat the far right, which what everybody predicted they would win, and the people rose up and said, not today, they're not going to win this time nor ever. So that was a very powerful moment.
That was very successful, the way the parties on the left and in the middle ground came together to squeeze out the far right. But you also had a very strong turnout. So are you finding that people were really quite shocked by that first round election with the National Front, the far right actually coming out on top?
Yes, and I think for millions of people in this country, it was about their very lives that was threatened. And we had groups of far-right groups roaming the streets, threatening LGBT people, threatening migrant people. A lot of people were abused verbally and called names, and it was very a matter of life and death for a lot of people, and parents telling their kids that they should leave their country because it would be impossible to keep living in this country if the far right would win. So it was very, it was not something theoretical for us and many of us. So and I think that the fact that there was such a high turnout that people realized what was at stake and rose to this historical moment.
There were people in the centre ground that also didn't like your language either. You know, they're as worried about the far left as they are about the far right. What are you saying to them today?
But first of all, we are the left as a whole,
But
and
your party's far left.
no,
As a group.
it's on the left, and our highest administrative courts said that we were the left, and the National Rally was the far right, which I think closed the debate. But most of all, it's not about the language or how bright is our smile or anything. It's about our platform, and I think we convinced people that our platform what was needed in order to beat the fascists, but also to change people's lives. And that's what's the most important for us. We got elected on a mandate to make more social justice, to implement green policies in order to face climate change, and to change our system to make it more democratic. And I think that's the most important, rather than like language or the way we behave, supposedly behave. I think that's what people are looking for, and they will be very serious about what we're going to do next.
But
That's what
your platform, your party's platform has been very clear. The issue is that the platform of the left alliance that has come out of this isn't clear, and there's going to be a big struggle to decide on who is going to be the next prime minister. Mélenchon's obviously put himself forward, but how are you going to, none of the analysts I've spoken to say it's just not clear how you're going to go agree with the moderates on who should replace Attal.
But most of the analysts over the past 3 weeks didn't know
Didn't see
that
this coming.
they didn't see. They
Yeah,
didn't
fair enough.
They didn't want this coming,
Yeah.
really, because we had the entire establishment media saying that we will lose and the far right will win. So I'd say to you, don't listen
Well,
to
to be
those.
fair, they did base a
but-
lot of that on the first round election, which
Yeah.
was pretty clear.
Yes, but I think they underestimate the resistance that in our people's political history and identity
Yes.
to the far right. And also, I would say that our platform as the New Popular Front is basically most of our program from La France Insoumise, but also everybody agrees that that's what people are waiting for, and I think nobody actually read. I mean, from in the media, the people talking about it, they weren't talking about what we actually put forward. We had over 300 high-level economists, among which the Nobel Prize in Economy, Esther Duflo, we had Gabriel Zucman, we had Thomas Piketty, who actually supported our program, said that was what needed in order to meet people's needs, and also that was good for the economy. Just on that issue, we were proved to be way better than what Macron did over the past 7 years.